Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the new McFarlane Toys Robin Tim Drake from Robin Reborn. Let's get a better look at that packaging, shall we? So here we are, nice up and close with the packaging. We of course have the contents of the packaging right there. We of course have the DC Multiverse logo right there, Robin Tim Drake. And then we of course have the Robin Tim Drake name again. We of course have the DC Multiverse logo up top. DC Universe Infinite ad right there, which looks like you're able to read issue Robin number 1 all the way back, and I believe it's 89 is when the first Tim Drake Robin issue came out. It was right after he became Robin. And then we of course have some art here from that time. I believe that's actually the cover, but it's of course Robin Tim Drake from Robin Reborn, the book. And then you, of course, have another ad for DC Universe Infinite with that QR code. Then you, of course, have the social medias for McFarlane Toys. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On the side, we, of course, have Robin Tim Drake from Robin Reborn. Up top, you have DC Multiverse right there. And on the bottom, you have McFarlane Toys logo right there. And the little sticker that they added, just for shits and giggles. And then, of course, up top, you have McFarlane Toys logo right there. 22 moving parts. And on the bottom, you, of course, have the Batman legalese right there. And that barcode for all you barcode hunters out there. Alright, guys, let's get this dude out of the packaging. So here we are with Tim Drake out of the packaging. And before we take a look at Tim Drake and all of his accessories, we're of course going to take a look at the other contents of the packaging. Which of course, if you know the DC Multiverse shebang, you know what I'm going to be covering. Up first we have, of course, the hockey puck, which has the normal DC logo with the 1 peg and the 4 little mold pop-outs right there. Then we of course have the individualized card, which has this beautiful cover of, I believe this is Robin number 1, don't quote me on that, but it's Robin Tim Drake from obviously Robin Reborn, the first arc in the Robin series. And on the back you have the bio of how Tim Drake basically became Robin, which is very accurate. I'm very impressed on how accurate it is. Where basically what happened with Tim Drake is that Jason Todd's dead, right? Before he gets resurrected. Tim Drake notices Batman's a little bit more brutal. Batman's a little bit more careless. He's off his rocker. He then, through his expert detective work, finds out through the fact that he saw Robin do a quadruple somersault on the TV, notices that Dick Grayson did the same thing at one of the performances of the Flying Graysons that he was at. And he was at that show where they fell. And so, through that deductional reasoning, that quadruple somersault is so hard to pull off, only 2 people can do it in the world. And the only likely candidate is Dick Grayson, and he found out Bruce Wayne is Batman through the fact that Bruce Wayne adopted Dick Grayson. Absolutely great way to make a Robin different from the others, proving that his mind is a more valuable weapon as opposed to his physical capabilities like Richard Grayson, even though Richard Grayson is a smart individual within himself. And then, of course, you have the caper where he tries to convince Dick to be Robin again. Dick's like, hard pass, I'm Nightwing now. And then he eventually steps up to the plate to kind of reel Bruce in from the kind of dark path he's going to start going down. But I absolutely love Tim Drake. He's one of my favorite Robins. He's my favorite Robin as Robin. And I'm putting that in the actual notes that as Robin, he is the definitive Robin. Damian should have not been Robin, in my opinion. Damian should have never been invented, but that's here nor there. But of course, let's take a better look at the figure now. So he comes with 2 accessories. He comes with a bow staff, which I think is a little too big for him. You can notice that he can barely even hold on all the way around. Like, this is a big boy. It's way too chunky. But I mean, besides that, it does the job. You can get it into some poses, but I'm doing nothing but letting him one hand. I'm not gonna let him two hand this just because of the fact that I don't want to warp the other hand so he can hold the batarang in that hand. And then we, of course, like I mentioned earlier, has the batarang here, and it's the same batarang we saw with the Nightfall Batman, just painted black. So it looks good. It's nice in scale, unlike the bow staff, but it's very nice and in scale. So here is the Robin we've all been waiting for. Todd released the 1 year later Robin, and made everybody angry from the fact that he obviously made this figure, but thought he could get a cash grab through an Amazon exclusive by making it the 1 year later, even though it had the sculpted sleeves and everything like that. Horrible idea, Todd. Don't do the sleeves. It could have saved yourself a lot of hassle. But I love this costume, and I think it's represented well here. The only thing I can really say, though, is that I wish his cape would be a little bit more bombastic. Like, he has a lot of presence, but I feel like the cape is too small for this guy. I feel like he should have not a like huge cape or anything, but on the level of kind of the smaller Batman capes. Like, I think he should have the Batman cape of something like a few centimeters shorter than 3 Jokers. That's the kind of length I want. And this is a little bit too short for me. Even though I love the yellow and the black on the back, even though you do see some paint scuffing. That's sad. But he obviously has some armor pieces, which of course isn't from the book, because obviously he looks like he's wearing cloth in the book. But I love the fact that they armored him up, and especially with the tunic right here, it looks very much armor and not cloth. And of course, love the checkmark R, classic. And then you of course have the buttons down there, absolutely fantastic. I love the belts. Belt's great. And of course, you got the ridging on the green gloves and the shoulders, like so. And then you of course have the green pants, which have some nice individual texturing there, just some athletic texturing, nothing to be like amazed by, but it's still nice that they did it. And then you of course have some armored boots for Robin here, down all the way to exposing his big toe for some weird reason. I don't like that too much, but it is what it is. But I mean, overall, I think he looks really good. And especially with the fact that he does have the sleeves on this costume, I think it's executed very well. And I'm so happy I actually waited for him instead of getting the 1 year later. Even though that's my favorite Robin costume, I'm so happy I got this just because of the fact of the practicality of the sleeves there. But articulation, of course, he has standard McFarlane articulation, which is hinges up, hinges down, double ball peg, goes all the way around like so. He has the butterfly joint in there, hinged, hinge shoulders, moves all the way around, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which still look egregious, but it is what it is. He has, of course, the McFarlane wrist right there, which you can move forward and back. And then if you rotate the hand, you can get the roll of the dice motion like so. He has decent torso. I wouldn't say it's the best torso in the world. It's definitely a little bit hindered, but he can move that far back with gappage, and without gappage, he can move like that far back, which is kind of abysmal. And then forward, he moves about that far forward, so you don't want this guy to be punched in the gut because it wouldn't look that good. And then he, of course, can swivel side to side, all that good stuff. He also has the standard McFarlane joints in the legs right there. He can move that far forward, that far back. He has thigh pivot. You can hear it clicking. He also has double jointed knees, and he can, of course, hinge his ankles down, up, rotate the ankle pivot like so, even though it's not really working on my particular figure, and hinges at the toes. And I know people are asking, what does he look like standing next to Nightfall? Here you go. They look great together. No notes, literally no notes, besides the fact that his chest cavity is all messed up. But besides that, they look great. They even have the same battering, like I said earlier. So yeah, they look great together. With Tim Drake finally here, we have the core Bat family finally together. We of course have the first release Red Hood, Nightwing, Titan's Way of Ignore the Diaper, of course our new Robin Reborn classic Tim Drake. We have of course Hush Batman, and these two look good together as well. Doing the comic, because Tim is Robin during Hush, so I think you could totally make these two work as well. And then you of course have Damian on the end there. And yeah, this is one solid lineup for the core Bat family right here. And of course you wouldn't have me get started with Tim Drake here without displaying him next to his Young Justice co-founders here. We of course have Connor Kent, Superboy, and Impulse there, and they look great too, I'm not gonna lie. He's very versatile in displaying with different groups and stuff like that, because he's one of those characters that Todd slightly modernized to make him look cool, but he could still display himself next to these classic comic characters. But overall, guys, this is a fantastic figure. It might be my second favorite figure of this little batch of reviews I'm doing. My favorite being Superman. Maybe Alan Scott would have been there if his hand wouldn't have broke on me. But anyway, this is a fantastic figure. He's definitely a must-buy for your Bat family or sidekicks or whatever. He's definitely, I'd say, the definitive Robin to get, because he's, of course, in the classic Tim Drake costume. Yes, he's modernized. He's not in the classic Tim Drake costume, but it's close enough. And especially when you get the actual sleeves that were marketed on, instead of having sleeves and then having them painted over. It's kind of lame, Todd. Kind of lame. But, of course, with this figure, it's absolutely forgiven for it because of how cool this character is. And he definitely does justice to Tim Drake. But, if I had to rate him, I'd give him a 9. No, it can't be that high. Oh, I don't know. Oh, jeez. Because I love the character so much, so I'm kind of biased. But I'm thinking more around an 8. He's good. He's a fantastic figure. 8.5. He's a fantastic character, fantastic figure. And there's so much playability with this guy. The only thing that's really holding him back is, unfortunately, the bow staff right there being too chunky for the hands. And with that, you just can't. And, of course, little nitpicks like the cape being too short, etc., etc. But, of course, outside of that, this is a fantastic figure. I highly recommend you guys pick him up, especially if you want him for, I don't know, your Teen Titans, your Young Justice, your Bat family, whatever. Get this guy. He's definitely worth it. And, yeah. Of course, let me know what you think about Tim Drake in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching. Keep collecting. and spread some peace and love out there, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video.